How's it going, everybody? My name is Bybee. I'm a senior at Zeeland West High School. And today I've decided I'm going to address a topic that's had a lot of buzz around the high schools lately, and that would be the dress code. There's no doubt that times are changing and fashion trends are changing, and a lot of clothes that people are wearing today are different from what may have been worn 10 years ago, maybe even 5 years ago. So I think I'm going to go rule by rule in the student handbook, and I'm going to give you my opinion on each part of those. All right, first off, I'm going to read basically it's pretty much just the overall guideline, not specific rules. So here we go. It says here, if a student has selected a manner of appearance that is beyond mere freedom of expression and disrupts the educational process or presents any risk to themselves or others, they may be removed from the educational setting. The following styles or manners of dress are prohibited but not restricted to. The first rule, Rule A, it says items that promote drugs, alcohol, or tobacco. And to me, that makes a lot of sense. We're all minors here, and most seniors can't even legally purchase tobacco until the middle of the year even, and even so, that's against the rules of the school to have it on property. So that rule completely makes sense to me. Rule B states that items with profane or sexually suggestive writing, pictures, or images are also banned. Now that also makes sense to me. We're just trying to present ourselves in a manner that's going to be respectful and responsible to yourself and to others. You don't want to be putting anything on your shirt or your clothes that might be offensive to somebody. Rule number 3 states that items that exhibit involvement in gangs or other organization deemed to be in conflict with school policies and practices. Now this one is a little bit dicey for me. I don't really understand because I'm not really involved with gangs or anything, but to me that means like wearing specific colors that might be involved with that gang or that type of thing, or maybe like a bandana or that type of thing. Personally, I think in Zeeland, there's not a whole lot of that, and granted, it's going to be there wherever you go. I just don't think a color or a bandana or something of that matter should be banned because it might signify gang activity, regardless of if it is or isn't. But if it became a problem where several people are starting to get sort of a gang mentality and all start to wear the same colors and same type of thing every single day, that would make sense to me, maybe intervening with that. Rule D says items that conflict with district policy or state law. I'm not really sure on what this one means to the school or to students. For a student that's reading it himself, I don't really understand this, and I don't really know the state laws or district policies on clothing and dress. My guess is that just means that you have to be wearing clothes, because that's the only law that comes to mind would be like public indecency. Rule E says non-prescription sunglasses within classrooms. Now this one, I can see both sides of this one. I could see how that might be disrespectful, or they could be trying to hide something from a teacher or teachers if they're wearing sunglasses inside. Just from a point of like if they had red eyes from being high or that type of thing, I could see where maybe that wouldn't be allowed. On the other hand, I think fashion is changing, and glasses indoors and different things like that could be used as a statement that might not be trying to hide anything. Rule F says you cannot go without shoes. Now this makes sense. We're not Huckleberry Finn. We can't be running around without shoes anymore. That's something where times have changed. And personally, nobody wants to smell your stinky feet. Okay, Rule G. This is a long one. It states muscle shirts, shirts showing navel or cleavage, halter tops, tank tops, tube tops, mesh skirts, see-through attire, miniskirts, spandex clothing, cutoff shorts, running shorts, bathing suits, clothing with bare midriffs, revealing or suggestive clothing. All right, so this one covers a lot, and I'm going to take it piece by piece. So first off, muscle shirts. This is going to be mostly for guys, obviously. And to me, this one doesn't make sense. If it's hot, it's hot. And if a guy feels like exposing his bare arm, I don't think that's going to be distracting to girls. I don't think it's going to be distracting to guys, on the other hand, either. I think maybe it could be a cause of a joke or something in between class, but I don't think that's going to be something that's disrupting somebody's learning. Next piece is showing navel or cleavage. I understand the cleavage. We're trying to keep our women respectful and dressed modestly, and that might distract guys, and that's understandable. But a belly button, I don't understand why that might be distracting to somebody, or that could be cause for concern. I don't think that's something that is not respectful or revealing of sorts. I think that a belly button should be okay, but probably not cleavage. Probably not the best idea. Next one, halter tops. Personally, don't know what that is. Tank tops on girls, I can understand that. Tank tops tend to be low cut in the chest area. That could just be another thing where it's revealing some cleavage. Tube tops, I believe that's when it's kind of just like a shirt that has no shoulders on it. It kind of just sits under the armpit. That's typically on girls, and I think that makes sense in some cases, but I think there's examples of that type of shirt that are going to be modest enough for school, that isn't going to be distracting to people. Mesh shirts, that makes sense. That's very outdated. I don't think anybody wears mesh shirts anymore. See-through attire, that can make sense. Nobody wants to see your body parts that you're not trying to reveal. Let's see, spandex clothing. That kind of makes sense. I could see where that could be up for concern, like possibly a tight shirt on a guy or a tight shirt on a girl, tight shorts, that type of thing. I can see that. I don't think in some cases it's really a concern, like a tight shirt on a guy. I don't think that's a big deal. I think everybody has muscles, and if you're not afraid to show them, go for it. I don't think that should be something that's hidden. I think we should support self-confidence. But for a girl, I think that could be pretty revealing in some cases. I think that should be up to the discretion of the teachers and the student. Miniskirts, that's definitely a good one, especially for girls. Well, I mean, guys aren't typically wearing miniskirts, but for girls, I think they should definitely just make sure their butt's not hanging out. I think the fingertip length is definitely a good rule when your hands are at your sides and you're standing straight. On top of that, we got running shorts, I think, and cutoff shorts. I think both of those should just be as long as their fingertip length. I don't think it should be a problem. And I think the teachers are pretty good at judging that one at Zeeland West and Zeeland East. Bathing suits, that makes sense. Who's wearing a bathing suit to school? Not me. I think that's just kind of common sense. Midriffs, we've already kind of talked about that, and revealing or suggestive clothing. So that's just kind of anything showing a butt, that type of thing. We just don't want that, and that's for girls and guys. We're at Rule I, and Rule I states that chains, handcuffs, and other metal paraphernalia may not be worn. That kind of makes sense. I don't know. I think chains, I don't know what kind of chains they were referring to, because obviously there was something that caused the rule to be written. I think like a necklace, I think they're being referred to as a chain right now, and I don't think that's a big deal. But I think there's some people that could be wearing like a wallet with a chain that attaches to their belt loop or that type of thing that I don't think that's a big deal. I don't think it would be used as a weapon or anything like that. I don't think it's distracting. Handcuffs, I don't get that one. It's not really my thing. I haven't really seen anybody with handcuffs on at school. Metal paraphernalia. So that one I think should be expanded upon in the rule book, just because that could mean earrings like what I have, necklaces, bracelets, earrings. Rule J states that hats worn in the school cafeteria or classroom or any type of head covering may not be worn. I don't see a problem with hats in any situation. I think times have changed a lot with that rule. As you can see, I'm wearing a hat right now, and I don't understand how that could be distracting to anybody. I think since we're in high school, we're responsible enough to wear a hat without being distracted by it. And it says other head coverings. I think that could be up to the discretion of the teachers and the student. If it's something that's religious, that makes sense. I think you should be able to wear that. But if it's something like a ski mask or anything of that sort, I think that's probably a no. And Rule K states that coats worn in classroom are not allowed, but there's exceptions that will be made where it's appropriate. I don't understand this rule. I think this rule is probably made out of the fear of the unknown. If somebody's wearing a big coat, you might not know what's inside of it, regardless of if that's a dangerous object or whatever it may be. I don't think this is a great rule because, people get cold. It happens. And some people are more sensitive to the cold than others. Like, for example, my mom, she gets very cold, and it might be something where I feel very warm. It happens. It's different people have different feelings on that. But I don't think coats should be banned in the classroom. And the L, the final rule, states that there should be no pants that are worn so undergarments are visible. This one makes sense. I don't think, and I think this is in reference to like sagging pants, pants that are below the waist. I think that makes sense. I don't disagree with that one at all. I don't think that's appropriate. I don't think it's cool by any means. I don't think anybody should be doing it. It's kind of, for lack of a better word, it's kind of dumb. And on top of that, I think probably pants with lots of rips and stuff. I think pants like that could show underwear potentially in like a guy or maybe even a girl. I don't know. But I don't think that's appropriate for school. Okay, in conclusion, I think for the most part, the guidelines for dress code are written fairly well. A lot of the rules leave the judgment up to the discretion of the teachers, and they get to decide what's right and what's wrong. And that could be an issue for some people because different teachers have different values. But I definitely think it would be valuable to reevaluate the rules and maybe change up some of them and change the wording on some of them. So then we have a solid line of what's okay and what's not. On top of that, keep doing you, Zealand. Stay stylish and don't be afraid to ask a teacher about what's okay and what isn't. Thanks, guys.